Well, Happy New Year, everybody. Prayers for all of you and for our country. That 2024 is a year full of blessings and some joy, health. We have an opportunity to close out our non-conference season against Penn. Penn is historically one of the best teams in the Ivy League. Coach Donahue is sort of a legendary coach. I think so highly of him that I don't mind sharing that when he left Boston College and was looking at a year out of coaching, I actually called him and wanted to see if he wanted to be my associate coach. That's how highly I think of him and the job that he's done. And obviously it's great to have him back at Penn for that league. Ira Bowman obviously has got a tremendous connection to Penn, and it gives me an opportunity to tell you just how incredibly valuable Ira Bowman is as my assistant coach. He's one of our top recruiters for sure. Does an incredible job leading our player development, and Ira takes great pride in helping all of our guys go on to play professional basketball. He's been very responsible for the fact that our kids have come in and rose up the ladder as far as how highly thought of. Some of our guys have gone to the NBA that were never in the pre-draft stuff. Never in the rankings ahead of time, and that's a lot to do with the work ethic of those kids, and also Ira Bowman, and obviously Ira was the Ivy League Player of the Year. He's got great connections to the Quakers, and he was an assistant coach there from 2013 to 18. So this game will have some meaning for him. Jalen Williams playing his best basketball right now. I'm really happy for him and proud of it, and he's doing it on both ends of the floor, and he's doing it really unselfishly and really efficiently, and he's doing it athletically. You're starting to see the real athleticism that he possesses and the upside, and so there's never been a better time than right now for us, and this is a great time right now for him, as he is the all-time winningest player in Auburn basketball history, and this is his last year of eligibility. Penn will play awfully hard. They will play awfully smart. They'll be the best coach team that will play against, just from a standpoint of their coach and how well he's able to translate that to his players. They're always in the right place at the right time. They have 4 guys out there that, 3 players that have made 26 or more three-point shots, shooting at 35%. They're ranked 14th nationally in three-point percentage at over 39%. And they're 16th with making over 10 threes per game. We interestingly, Chattanooga obviously was a team that could beat us from 3, not 2 or 3, and yet Chattanooga still made 11. And we were trying to not let them get those shots off. And Penn is better than Chattanooga. So it'll be one, and just a couple years ago, Penn went to Alabama and beat Alabama at Alabama, and Alabama, a great team. They had a great year that year, so we'll be ready.
Ferd?
You mentioned it in your open narrative, but Jalen, when did you kind of see the switch flip for him?
After the Appalachian State game,
Yeah.
Was a switch for him, and he started with practice. Started in practice. I heard Peyton Manning say this, and I've heard it say this several times, but I actually just listened to it about a week ago. He was actually talking to Notre Dame's football team, and he said his championship teams were always when the best players were the hardest workers and the most locked in. They got in there early, they stayed late, but they paid incredible attention to detail. He said when the best players were taking notes in film and actually writing things down that the coaches were saying, and they paid that kind of attention in practice, and obviously practiced that way, then the young guys, the rookies, would look at it and say, okay, that's what's expected of me. And so, you know, I've challenged Jalen and Janai to sort of look at what Peyton had to say. I kind of look back and agree with it. And I thought Janai demonstrated that against Chattanooga as well. Really played efficiently and at both ends of the floor.
Obviously, too, following up on that, you mentioned Jalen becoming this player, in film who's taking notes, becoming that more, veteran player. He's obviously been here for so long now to be the winningest player. So how have you seen him progress into that older figure?
I just think that because Jalen is such an unselfish person and such a great teammate, that he's always been patient. Again, I love to tell the story that when Jalen was entering his junior year, we were bringing in Jabari Smith at his position. Rather than jumping in the transfer portal, he said, all right, I'm going to try to beat Jabari out. And it was really interesting. He played even with Jabari all summer and early fall. He really did. And because Jabari was such a great player, Jabari began to have separation from the position, and obviously he gets drafted third in the country and is having a great run with Houston. But that's what has sort of, sometimes that patience can get you into a situation where you begin to defer a little bit. I think the other thing too is we've had other good players on the roster, and we do now have other good players on the roster. But when Jalen shoots 9 for 9, he ought to get 12 shots, and when Janai shoots I think it was 9 for 12 maybe, then he needs to get 13 or 14 shots. In other words, I don't decide who shoots the ball. The guys that shoot the best percentage should be shooting the shots. The team knows that, and so. But again, the thing that Jalen is doing is he's doing it both ends of the floor, and you're able to see with Jalen's motor running, and playing more physically and more aggressive, it shows his athleticism.
Noticed during this winning streak that Chaney stayed out of foul trouble and he's doing some of everything on the floor. Do you feel like he's kind of getting in a groove a little bit?
Who?
Chaney.
Yeah, I think. Look, Chaney is really starting to show up his athleticism and his ability to guard. We do a lot of switching 1 through 4, and we are fortunate this year that our 4s and 5s can guard any position, on the perimeter or inside. And that gives you really great ability to be able to put bodies on bodies. And, Chaney is, he's arguably our best athlete. And to have one of your best athletes be somebody with that size, he's taking pride in sitting down in the stands and staying on the floor and being second off the floor and being a tough closeout. And again, that serving him and serving us well. And by the way, he is a way better offensive player than he's shown this year, but that's okay because he's being unselfish. He's recognizing this is his first year, and there are some upperclassmen that have been here a little bit, and but he's not hesitating when he's open, he's shooting it. He's improved his passing and his assist turnover because that's something that, again, when you grow 5 inches in college, one of the biggest things that changes is, you're all of a sudden now just as far as working on his ball handling and his passing.
One more game before conference play starts. Is there 1 or 2 things that you really want to see your team take a step forward on before?
Well, I'd like them to build on what we did Saturday against Chattanooga, from the standpoint of we were back to that high assist, low turnover. And this is going to be hard against Penn because Penn, we're bigger than they are, and we're more athletic than they are. But they play so hard, and they deflect everything. And if you think that it's going to be easy, it won't be easy to throw the ball into the paint because they're going to be packed in there and they're going to go for it and they have deflections and they may not get the rebound, but after we get it, they'll take it from us. They're a scrappy, physical, hard-nosed, tough team. Not something that you would prototypically think of an Ivy League team being, but that's who they are.
you've mentioned in the past about kind of how the second half defense can be difficult because you're far away from the bench and they can't hear you as well. This may, can you kind of explain? This might sound like kind of stupid. Like obviously like you're far away, you can't hear everyone. But like, what do the players need to talk about to make sure that communication actually extends?
Well, it's like I think most offenses are better when they're in front of you, and I think most defenses are better when they're in front of you. And because we know what's coming, we've got the scout. We know everything. That's what we do. And we've given it to the players, but we're able to help the players during the course when they're right in front of you. When they're down at the other end, they can see you, but they can't hear you as well. And so we're able to call out play calls, we're able to call out coverages, help them as best we possibly can. Now, so what does it require? It requires more communication in the second half. And obviously no lead will be safe against these guys because of the way they shoot the ball.
Bruce, the Alabama State game, you guys had more turnovers than assists for the first time in a while. This game, 9 assists, 0 turnovers, 3 point guards. What was the difference between those guys after that?
Well, we focused a lot. We came back after Christmas break and watched a lot of that Alabama State tape and recognized that when we slop through our offense and don't get to our spots and don't execute it, what we run is good, but it's only as good as we execute it. And they saw them make it, another, like for example, against Penn, interior guys are gonna be open, but the easy passes to the perimeter. And if they try to force it inside, those balls are gonna get deflected. They're tough catches inside. And so there are just things like that, taking advantage of the fast break when we have numbers and making sure we run something when all 5 guys are back. And then I think oftentimes being more unselfish and I just think makes for a better assist turnover ratio. But when you start thinking about, we're not playing as good a team, it's Alabama State, I got a chance to get some of mine, then all of a sudden, if you're not making other guys better, either offensively or defensively, then that's when there's breakdowns. And this team has done a really good job of playing hard, playing unselfishly.
Bruce, we've seen for a few years now. I guess kind of you're one of the best in the country at drawing up like out of bounds play, sideline out of bounds, baseline out of bounds. Early in your career, did anybody kind of stress that to you, or is that you got?
No, Dr. Tom Davis was my mentor, and Dr. Tom Davis ran 1-4 flat at the under OB, and I am absolutely still running the foundation of so much of what we do is from Dr. Tom Davis, who is arguably one of the greatest coaches in the history of college basketball who's not in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he is one of those guys that I don't care whether it's Mike Krzyzewski or Rick Pitino or Jim Calhoun or Jim Boeheim, guys that would have known him from the East. They loved trying to beat Tom because they recognized how good he was. And I just was fortunate to be able to be his assistant for 14 seasons.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just to follow up on that, like your teams are awesome at blobs and slot, those out of bounds plays. In your opinion, like what's the secret or what's the key to being a good team in that area? Because y'all are one of the best in the country. Actually.
Yeah, well, I think I don't know. I just think part of it is running stuff that's either hard to guard or hard to recognize. So if we're 1-4 flat every time and we do a lot of different things out of it, pre-snap, there's no way they can get a read on what we're doing. Our personnel is usually in the same spots. We move around a little bit. Okay, so there's no pre-snap ability to. I say that because people around here understand football more than basketball, and then everything's got a counter. If we do this and you take that away, well then we'll do that, and you just run stuff that's simple but hard to guard. All right, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks, Bruce.